Omar Khayyam, a Persian polymath and philosopher, lived in a world where time was a cruel judge. His Rubaiyat are not just poetry. They are an instruction manual for survival in a state of existential fragility. He wrote about the fleeting nature of life, yet with extraordinary lightness, he transformed fear into dignity. This text, created 9 centuries ago, remains the shortest and deepest guide to inner freedom. Beneath the boughs, a loaf of bread, a flask of wine, and a book of verse. And thou beside me, in the quiet of the wilderness. Even the void, where no soul dwells, becomes a paradise, if you are there with me. We live in an era of total psychological overload, where silence has become an exotic, unattainable luxury. Our brain, like an overworked processor, tries to digest terabytes of useless information every hour. Social media and constant chats have created an illusion of presence, but in reality, they have only deepened our isolation. We are afraid to be alone with our thoughts, so we constantly seek external validation of our existence. This noise is a collective anesthesia, drowning out our true needs. Escaping from oneself has become a modern form of slavery. Our bodies react to this pressure with a deep biological fatigue that cannot be cured by sleep. Chronic stress turns our internal systems into a battlefield. We lose the ability to concentrate, replacing it with a shallow multitasking that drains our energy. The body screams for a pause, but we ignore the signals, chasing deadlines that do not exist. The world forces us to believe that the number of connections equals the quality of life. We are surrounded by people, yet paradoxically lonely, because most of these links are merely transactional. We maintain toxic relationships just to avoid the feeling of emptiness. This need to be connected destroys our inner integrity. We confuse interaction with interdependence, and sincere intimacy with belonging to a crowd. I would pour wine for my own delight. Let the loud sermon fall silent. Do not believe the words that something awaits tomorrow, for the time of life is but a single moment. The modern financial system works perfectly to keep our attention away from our inner world. We trade our precious time for a salary that only covers debts and credits, designed to keep us in a constant race. Financial tension becomes our identity. A person feels torn away from their own life because their energy is entirely focused on external survival. This cycle feeds the fear of freedom, for freedom requires first financial and then internal courage. Compare our pace of life with the rhythm of ancient civilizations, where time was measured by seasons, not seconds. We have lost the natural, steady rhythm. Our ancestors had moments of forced silence, long journeys, waiting for the harvest, which allowed the mind to settle. Today, we aggressively fill every void. We have stopped respecting the pause as a necessary element of existence. Deeply rooted fear of the self is the main barrier to inner strength. We were taught that being alone is a sign of failure. This fear makes us cling to external entertainment to silence our internal dialogue. We are afraid that in the silence, we will hear truths about ourselves that we desperately try to ignore. In truth, silence is the only place where the authentic voice of intuition can be heard. All this hustle, the credits and office dramas, happen against a backdrop of absolute cosmic indifference. Our existence lasts no longer than a flash on the timeline of the universe. We forget that we are part of something infinitely larger. Real wisdom begins when we accept our microscopic role in the vast cosmos. This acceptance reduces the pressure of social expectations. When the fear of the cosmos vanishes, space for the self appears. In constant interaction with others, we build complex masks to protect our vulnerable I. Over time, we grow so close to these roles that we forget who we are without them. This leads to a catastrophic loss of identity. When the mask falls, only exhaustion remains from the constant performance. We carry responsibilities to society, family, and employers, but we often forget the ethical duty to our own soul. This duty is to provide space for growth and authenticity. By ignoring this, we become morally drained. True responsibility begins with caring for your inner world, for you cannot fill others if you are empty inside. Modern man has reached the peak of loneliness, surrounded by millions of voices. We stand at a crossroads where technological connectivity is at its maximum, while human intimacy is at its minimum. It is here that Khayyam offers a radical way out. Find that one person. This is not a search for an external savior, but a turning to the only reliable source, yourself. All who walk this earth so proudly will hide within it when the time comes. Look at them. They are already in silence. What is the sense in waiting for the next spring? Sometimes life forces a silence upon us, an illness, a lockdown, or a difficult breakup. In this forced pause, when the external crutches are kicked away, we face the true face of our inner being. This moment is both a crisis and a massive opportunity. Finally, there is no reason to keep running. This is not passivity, but an active dive into the depths. The way out is not in the world, but in your own presence. Let no one find me here. Forget those who steal your time. Seek the paradise where you are alone. Otherwise, the world will swallow you there. Khayyam is not speaking of isolation, but of solitude. Isolation is a forced state without others. Solitude is a voluntary presence with oneself. Solitude is the source of clarity. To gain solitude means to consciously choose yourself as your best and most interesting companion. It allows us to restore the internal dialogue, interrupted by the noise of the world. The key figure in Khayyam's verse is you, but the role is paradoxical. If you cannot be peace and strength for yourself, no partner can do it for you. This, one person, your honest, integrated self, is the foundation for turning the void into paradise. The true power of solitude is that it makes you a self-sufficient source of happiness. When we finally fall silent, we hear an inner voice that is often critical. This voice is a collection of social expectations. In the silence of solitude, we gain the chance to separate this voice from our true self. It is not a struggle, but a calm observation that diminishes the critic's power. The modern economy encourages our external dependence. It is built on the idea that you are constantly lacking something. A free and self-sufficient person is a threat to a system that feeds on our needs. By freeing yourself from the need for constant external completion, you step out of the matrix of consumption. For those who appreciate quality literature, the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam is the essential classic for your shelf. This collection is perfect both for your personal library and as a valuable gift. Don't miss the opportunity. Order your edition now. The direct purchase link is located below the video. True freedom is not measured by money, but by your internal space and independence from external judgment. The shift happens when we replace the metric of success with the metric of integrity. Solitude is the laboratory, where you create your own independent value system. When you look at the deep night sky, or the endless sea, your daily anxieties vanish and scale. Solitude allows us to recalibrate our perception, placing our problems in their true tiny context. This realization does not devalue your feelings. It releases the energy previously wasted on irrational fear. Every person has the radical power of choice, to choose their reaction, to choose who to trust with their time, and to choose how to interpret loneliness. This power makes you the architect of your world, not a passive observer. The greatest ideas in history were almost always born in periods of isolation, not in a crowd. Silence has always been the catalyst for creativity. When external stimuli disappear, the brain finds space for innovation and deep reflection. The price of refusing silence is the loss of your inner compass. Without periods of solitude, we become reactive, constantly answering to the demands of others. This leads to burnout and a loss of meaning. Silence returns to us our time and control over our own narrative. That one person Khayyam mentions is your integrated self, the part of you capable of coexisting with your shadows without conflict. Integration means accepting your darkness and your light. Only when you stop the inner war Do you become whole enough to stand calmly alone? This acceptance becomes an invincible armor against external chaos. True partnership is only possible between two whole, self-sufficient people. It is not the merging of two halves seeking completion, but the meeting of two worlds that respect their autonomy. In such a bond, solitude becomes a shared, peaceful space. And let time not trouble us for a moment. Do not even grieve for what is to come. Cherish your dreams while the candle burns, and give your time to the one who is beside me. How can you be truly present for another if you are absent for yourself? The quality of our presence is proportional to the depth of our inner silence. Only after we resolve our internal conflicts in solitude can we give pure energy to others. Solitude does not require moving to a monastery. It requires a ritual of silence in your daily schedule. 15 minutes before the world wakes up, or a digital Sabbath once a week. Create boundaries that protect your peace from invasion. This is the only guarantee that you will not lose yourself in the whirlwind of others' affairs. Anxiety is merely a loud indicator that we are ignoring important truths. In silence, we can transform this energy. Fear becomes a catalyst for change. We stop fighting anxiety and start using it as a navigation tool. We are learning to listen to a silence that is louder than any scream. This is not the absence of sound, but the filling of space with a vivid internal presence. This silence is the sound of your integrated self, finding harmony with the cosmos. It is an inexhaustible source of strength. Our task is to carry this silence back into the noisy world. To live according to the truths found in solitude is the highest ethical duty. Let your behavior and your calm be a mirror reflecting the strength of your inner work. Khayyam reminds us again and again, the moment is all we have. Solitude allows us to stretch this moment, fill it with meaning, and enjoy the fullness of being. He teaches us that instead of waiting for paradise in the sky, we must create it here and now, through deep inner peace. Your self-sufficiency is not a rejection of others, but the realization that you do not need anyone else to be whole. You are your own sun, not a moon reflecting someone else's light. This is the highest form of self-love, and the best foundation for loving others. Khayyam left us with a thought. You alone have the power to turn the void into paradise. The lesson: do not fear solitude, for it is not an absence, but an intense presence of the self. The question: what do you hear when you turn off your phone and stop running? The simple step: every day, give yourself 10 minutes. Not for meditation, but for conscious stillness. Just be where you are and breathe.